Κυρίες και κύριοι, γεια σας. Είναι με ιδιαίτερη χαρά που φιλοξενώ σήμερα στο στούτιο έναν άνθρωπο με διεθνή ακτινοβολία και φήμη, έναν άνθρωπο που έχουν φιλοξενήσει τα μεγαλύτερα και πιο δημοφιλή τηλεοπτικά προγράμματα στον κόσμο, στην Αγγλία, στην Αμερική, παντού. Έναν άνθρωπο που ορισμένοι ειδικοί, αρκετοί ειδικοί, έχουν ονομάσει άνθρωπο φαινόμενο. Μια και με τη δύναμη της σκέψης και μόνο μπορεί να λυγίζει μέταλλα, να διαβάζει τη δικιά μας σκέψη και όχι μόνο. Κυρίες και κύριοι, σας παρουσιάζω τον άνθρωπο φαινόμενο, κύριο URI GELLER. URI, welcome to the show.
Stavros.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm going to start the show with an aggressive question. People, I mean, you're obviously a very charismatic man. You're gifted with these extraordinary powers, metaphysical powers of being able to use the powers of your mind to do all these things that, as I said, are so extraordinary. The question, URI, is this charisma that you have, is this a gift from God or is it an anathema from the devil?
Well, it's definitely not the last.
A shoemaker's talent, a taxi driver's job is from God.
The reason perhaps people are so skeptical about this and they tend to go to the edge and characterize people gifted such as yourself is a phenomenon that has been happening throughout the ages.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, things that people cannot understand, they tend to immediately relate to Satanism and Buddhism and so on. And we have seen this in the Middle Ages where they were burning thousands of poor women because they thought they were witches. So obviously we are facing the same phenomenon now that people are unable to understand and comprehend the talents or the gift of somebody. Immediately they have the simple answer of, but the fact that you acknowledge out front that you're a religious man, that you believe in God, I think we can get that thing out of the way.
Yes, again, I have to stress that, yes, sometimes during my trips around the world, you know, certain, I don't know if it's the church, but certain, I don't know, branches of cults and guru type of followers said, oh, well, anyone who has powers must be some kind of a black magic, and that's nonsense. It's absolutely not true. And but you can't stop, you know, people from saying things about
you. Cannot stop people from saying these things, considering the religious side, and obviously you cannot stop anybody being skeptical.
Of
and
course.
The other side is that, and I've seen this written in the Cyprus press actually, they are very skeptical whether you're actually a genuine phenomenon with paranormal powers, or whether you're just a charlatan out to conjure people. And
yes, this thing I had all through my life. Even when I became first time famous in Israel, already there, the people who attacked me, very few people, magicians, because magicians can duplicate some of the things I do with tricks.
mm-hmm.
So therefore, they don't believe in anything that can be done with the mind. And my way of telling the difference is this. You walk into a room and you have two paintings on the wall. One is a genuine Picasso and the other one is a fake. But you can't see the difference. Do you understand me?
I understand.
So you can be fooled, but one is genuine. What I do is real, although some people can duplicate it with tricks. But the big difference is, Stavros, and this is the big difference, that I gave myself to be tested in laboratories under controlled conditions. Not what I did on television here or what I do on stage. That's not controlled, but that's the way I do it. There's no way I can
Actually, in
put
my
myself under
prologue, in
control.
introducing you, I did say that a lot of specialists, a lot of people, scientists, have given you the name phenomenon, because actually, after testing you in controlled conditions, they were unable to understand your gift and your ability.
Exactly.
And let me just say something which is very important to my people watching me.
Yes.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, θέλω να πω το εξής, ότι τον Γιούρι τον πρωτοείδα σε τηλεοπτική εκπομπή 1970 κάτι στο Λονδίνο όταν ήμουν φοιτητής. Και σε αυτό το πρόγραμμα πραγματικά με εντυπωσίασε και όλα αυτά τα οποία γράφτηκαν για τον Γιούρι την επομένη στις εφημερίδες ήταν εκπληκτικά. Ότι μπορούσε με την δύναμη της σκέψης του να λυγίζει μέταλλα. Στην πρώτη συνάντηση που είχα με τον Γιούρι, πρέπει να έτσι και εγώ με ειλικρίνεια να πω ότι είχα κάποιες αμφιβολίες, κάποιους ενδιασμούς κατά πόσον αυτός ο άνθρωπος, ο τόσο χαρισματικός, με τον οποίο ασχολείται ο τύπος επανειλημμένα, έχει όντως αυτό το χάρισμα. Και μπροστά στα μάτια μου, ενώ ήμασταν οι δυο μας, πήρε ένα κουταλάκι της British Airways, το οποίο το ακούτε είναι μεταλλικό και μέσα σε δευτερόλεπτα, χωρίς καμιά προσπάθεια, απλά με τη σκέψη του, λύγησε αυτό το κουταλάκι μπροστά του και μετά στη συνέχεια μου το χάρισε και να τον θυμάμαι. Έτσι, εγώ προσωπικά, ο φίλος ο Σταύρος Σιδεράς, δεν έχει κανέναν λόγο να σας ξεγελάσει. Αλλά δεν παίζουμε κανένα παιχνίδι τώρα με τον Γιούρι. Με ειλικρίνεια να σας λέγω αυτά τα οποία εγώ προσωπικά γνωρίζω. Αυτό το πράγμα έγινε μπροστά στα μάτια μου και αν πιστεύετε εμένα, οφείλετε στη συνέχεια να πιστέψετε και τον Γιούρι.
Also, you have to add in Greek that it continued bending.
Ναι, μια λεπτομέρεια που λέει ο Γιούρι είναι ότι αφού το ακούμπησε άρχισε να λυγίζει το κουταλάκι και ενώ το άφησε στο τραπέζι το κουταλάκι για περίπου 2-3 λεπτά συνέχισε να λυγίζει και μέχρι να φτάσει σε αυτή τη μορφή.
And this no one can explain, even I can't.
You cannot.
I can understand, I can bend it, but how does it sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it continues. So what I'm saying about the skeptics, for many years, I ignored the people who attacked me. And that was a mistake. Because later on, when my children were born, I didn't want my children to go to a library and take a book out and read lies about their father.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sue skeptics, take them to court, because they libeled me.
Did you win these cases?
Of course, but what was strange, that the libel, the defamation, had nothing to do with my powers. I was called very rude names. You know, I don't know how you say defamation in Greek.
I don't know.
Libel. They lied about calling me certain names. So, of course, I won. Many times it was thrown out of court because the lawyers messed up. And at the end of the day, the only people who made money were the lawyers. So now skeptics are very careful what they say about me. Do you understand me? Because I will not allow people to lie about me. I've gone through that stage. So it goes with the territory, but if someone is skeptical elegantly,
What's his opinion?
I can't force you to believe, or the people at home.
Sure.
But don't lie about me.
Well, one thing that people cannot obviously, no matter how skeptical they can be and how sort of strongly they can feel negatively about you, one cannot confront your great achievement. Obviously, you have succeeded in convincing a lot of people around the world. You have been hosted in many shows in America and England. Yes. One of the people I admire very much, David Frost, is a good friend of you. And actually, I saw that he wrote in one of the books that you published and so on. So obviously, I believe, Yuri, that the believers, in quotation mark, are a lot. The number is much bigger than the skeptics.
Stavros, it's like 97% are believers, and 3% are very negative skeptics, but they're the losers.
Well, in trying to find, I know you said yourself, Yuri, that it's a phenomenon you cannot explain yourself. You
Yes.
cannot, I mean, obviously you possess this power, but it's something that came to you, and no matter how much you tried, perhaps, to find a solution to this, so far, and so far as you're concerned, you don't know how, but perhaps reading one of your books, the fact that you remember an encounter with an alien spaceship from the beyond.
Yes.
I find this very fascinating. Can you tell us about this?
Yes, and unfortunately it makes my story even more bizarre and strange. I was 4 or 5 years old, and we lived in I was very poor. We lived in one room. I lived with my mother in a one-room apartment, and opposite our house was an Arabic garden. And I one day found a bent gate, and I went through it. And the grass was quite high, and I suddenly heard little kittens cry, and I was looking for them. And suddenly, I looked up into the sky. Something made me look up. And in front of me, above, was like a ball of light. And there was a very high-pitched noise. But, you know, when you're so small, what can you think? Suddenly, there was like a zap from this source, and it hit my forehead. I remember it very clearly, and I fell into the grass. That's all. And I ran home, and, you know, my mother didn't believe me. She thought I was making it up. I wasn't making it up. It really happened. Now, I didn't see aliens. It wasn't a UFO. But what was it?
It was a brilliant light.
Yes. So what was it? And I still today struggle with this idea of, if there are intelligences out there, which I believe there are, why are they communicating with us so strangely, in so secretive ways, through symbols and corn circles and lights in the sky and abductions of people? Why don't they land
and make themselves known?
Yes.
Perhaps the fact that there is a balance in the universe, and they are trying to maintain this harmony.
Perhaps.
And they want us to develop in our own natural way, but at the same time, these aliens, obviously of a more sort of advanced civilization, whatever, they are just watching us.
Or we are not ready.
We are definitely not ready. I mean, this is a huge subject. I mean, we are not ready. If you open any newspaper and look at the front page of the news at 8 o'clock on our TV, you know we're not ready. We are barbarians. We are, but at the first footstep of our civilization.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I must tell you that because of my deep belief in aliens and the paranormal, I actually started a magazine called Encounters, which means the meeting.
Επαφή.
Meeting. And in this month's issue, which is funnily, it's sold here too, in
Cyprus.
In Cyprus, I called Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut. And I've got an incredible exclusive interview.
He's actually one of the people that walked on the moon, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. He was the 6th man to walk on the moon with Apollo 14. And I reveal you now something. First of all, it's very difficult to get out information from them because they know certain things that they're not allowed to talk about.
There's so many stories written about these astronauts. Some of them commit suicide, some of them are...
they go crazy.
Yes.
But he is very clear. He's a doctor. And while he was... Well, first of all, I have to show you another thing that NASA, not long ago, announced that they found a meteorite that possibly has life on it. You all know about this.
Yes, Mars, I think.
And this picture here, if you look at it, if the cameraman can show, you can clearly see a face. And this face is on Mars. And no one can tell me that this is not a face. This was photographed by NASA. And later on, they enhanced the picture privately, and this is a cover-up. They never released this true picture. Why? Why are we not releasing the truth? And when Mitchell walked on the moon, they instructed him to leave his camera on the moon. He told me that. And right now, there is a camera, a Hasselblad, the most expensive camera on the moon.
Taking pictures?
No, it was left. Why did NASA tell Mitchell to leave his camera on the moon? Is it possible that Mitchell photographed something that could have caused, you know, I get goosebumps. Could it have been something so revealing that NASA said, don't bring it?
Didn't he tell you?
No.
He did not reveal that.
But he did tell me that he left the camera.
But there are also some fascinating stories about NASA and its secrets about aliens. The fact that some spaceship landed on Earth and they have in position bodies of aliens and so on.
You see, they are signed to secrecy. And you know, when you sign in America, whether it's CIA or national security, there's a law, you can't talk. But I know from inside information, Stavros, that a UFO did crash, and they actually have 2 or 3 bodies locked in a place called Area 51. And they are trying to get government permission to open those files. I don't understand why.
But some of the pictures did find themselves in the light of the press, and they were revealed. Some pictures showing these aliens, these dead bodies.
Yes, but some people think it's not the real bodies, and they're fakes. And actually, Mitchell said to me, if my recollection is right, he doesn't believe that those bodies that they showed are real. But it's like a cover-up.
So they're actually you're saying, Yuri, that in actual fact what they're doing, they're giving phonies, saying that they're true so that people will realize they're phonies, and they will say that, well, it's all a fake, it's all a game, let's stop believing this nonsense.
This is my opinion, yes? And that's exactly what I believe is happening, because Mitchell told me that some of the people involved are credible people, and they wouldn't lie. And one of the persons says, look, I filmed dead aliens in 1940, you know, it goes back many, many years ago. So sooner or later, the truth will come out. But that's strange that even with my powers, in my youth, I always felt that there is some extraterrestrial connection.
Having said that, Yuri, I can also bring to light the information. I mean, it's not, I don't possess the information myself. I've read it somewhere. But I've read somewhere that both the Russians and the Americans, beginning early in the 60s, because of the phenomenon of telepathy and psychokinesis, they were experimenting on the powers of some people gifted, such as yourself, in Russia and America since the 60s, trying to control this power, which is an energy that people cannot understand right now. Obviously, we cannot understand, but 200 years ago, we couldn't understand electricity. We couldn't understand many things. We couldn't understand telephones. In actual fact, it is not, no matter how skeptical one can be, one cannot be a skeptic in this, because it is a fact that governments have sort of spent a lot of money, millions of dollars, trying to research into the powers of people such as yourself with paranormal facilities, trying to control it. Did this happen to you? Did any government approach you and say, hey, Yuri, would like to sort of experiment with you?
Of course. I mean, there was a time, a short period, that I worked for the CIA. It actually, I don't know how official it was, but I was approached in Mexico City by 2 CIA agents. And I liked it because, you know, I was young. This is many years ago.
And
I loved James Bond. I wanted to be a James Bond type of spy. And they actually told me to spy on the Russian embassy in Mexico City, which was the biggest, you know, Russian espionage center in Latin America. I had things like to erase the computer tapes. They used to put me on Aero Mexico in first class, where 2 KGB agents used to sit on the other side of the aisle, and they had handcuffs. The diplomatic pouches were handcuffed on them. Mm-hmm. They were flying from Mexico City to Paris to take the plane to Aeroflot to Moscow. And my task was to try to read what is inside the diplomatic pouches, and if there are floppy disks, to erase it. So I did things like that, and then just 9 years ago, the Americans asked me to, this is, I have to show this picture because it's so unbelievable, but the American head of the American Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Claiborne Pell, asked me to go to the Geneva Nuclear Arm Reduction Treaty and to bombard this man, who is the head of the nuclear arms reduction negotiator, Yuli Vorontsov, that's me here, to bombard him to sign the treaty. And if you look carefully, right here is Vice President Al Gore. So you're talking about high caliber people here. And after this event, which worked, I was asked to go into the Capitol building in Washington, inside a shielded room so the Russians couldn't eavesdrop. And the heads of the CIA, FBI, National Security were all in front of me, and they asked me questions about the Russians. But to finish this side of this phenomena, is that in the late 60s, the Russians were ahead of the Americans in testing people like me. By the way, Stavros, are you interpreting this afterwards?
We will have subtitles. Okay. Don't worry about that. Okay. Don't everybody will know exactly what you're saying.
And when I went on the scene, I started for them a whole research by being studied at Stanford Research Institute, which was partly financed by the American government. And then they started to do remote viewing. They used to send people, and you can do this too at home. You can go somewhere and see a place and transmit the thought of what you're looking at to someone thousands of miles away. And that started the whole research in America.
Well, everything you're saying is so fascinating and exciting. Actually, the fact that you said that you can influence people in signing peace treaties and so on, maybe the next thing you should do is I will arrange a meeting with Mr. Dektas and we sit together and who knows?
I can do it.
I believe you.
I'm telling you.
But before you do it, we need to take a break.
All right.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, μείνετε μαζί μας, αντιλαμβάνεστε ότι πολύ περισσότερο έτσι ενδιαφέροντα πράγματα θα προκύψουν αυτή την εκπομπή. Μείνετε μαζί μας 1-2 λεπτά, θα είμαστε και πάλι μαζί. Yuri, since we touched the subject of telepathy just before the show, and I know that telepathy and transmitting your thoughts and reading other people's thoughts is one of your charismas and one of your gifts. Before the show, I took the liberty of drawing on a white piece of paper. Something easy, but something simple sort of drawing. I know it's something that you like to do, and let me just...
it's something that usually I'm successful at if you are very telepathic. Now, where is the drawing? On you?
I've got it, yes. I've got
and you're not showing it to anyone?
I have shown it to nobody.
So, and you have to tell the people at home, I mean, I'm sure they trust you, that there is no collaboration between us.
I said this already. Κυρίες και κύριοι, το τι με παρακάλεσε βέβαια από ό,τι αντιλαμβάνεστε ο Γιούρι να πω είναι ότι δεν υπάρχει οποιαδήποτε συνεννόηση μεταξύ μας και αυτό έτσι θέλω να το σεβαστείτε, σεβόμενοι τη δική μου θέση αν θέλετε. Είμαι βέβαιος ότι με εμπιστεύεστε και με πιστεύετε. Δεν υπήρξε καμιά προσυνεννόηση, καμιά συνεργασία με τον Γιούρι, ούτε στην περίπτωση του κουταλιού, ούτε και στην περίπτωση που δεν ξέρουμε αν θα πετύχει, αλλά εν πάση περιπτώσει μόνος μου, χωρίς να δει κανένας τίποτε, χωρίς να μιλήσω σε κανένα, έχω σχεδιάσει πάνω σε ένα άσπρο χαρτί ένα σχεδιάγραμμα και στη συνέχεια θα δούμε κατά πόσο θα μπορέσει ο Γιούρι να διαβάσει τη σκέψη μου.
Okay. Now, I will describe you exactly what is going in my head and to the people at home how I do this. First of all, I visualize in my mind like a screen, like a movie screen or a TV screen. Into this screen I have to get your drawing. Now what I'm asking you to do now is begin, don't close your eyes and don't move your eyes, don't move your face. Begin to draw the drawing in your head over and over and over. When you drew it, you do it again and again. Begin. And you see, I don't have to go into any deep concentration. See, I visualize a screen and into the screen I have to see what you're drawing. Yes? Yes. Again, draw it slowly, slow motion. Yes. Yeah. I can show it to the camera. Keep drawing it one more time, slowly, slow motion. Yes. One more time. Okay, I got something. I got it quite strongly, but you see, usually when I tell people to draw something, it's usually a tree or a flower or a house or a boat. This is not really a drawing. This is more like some kind of a flag, or it's a geometrical figure, not a drawing. That's what I'm getting. But anyhow, this is what I got. I'm showing it to the camera. Now you show us what you have in your pocket. And I'm always nervous.
Well, I'll tell you something, Yuri. I mean, if I am so telepathic and I have this power, will you take me with you and we do shows together?
Let's do it. Let me see what you have.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, για άλλη μια φορά επαναλαμβάνω, αν μπορεί να με δείξει η κάμερα, επαναλαμβάνω ότι με ειλικρίνεια, ότι αυτό το πράγμα το ζωγράφισα μόνος μου, δεν το είδε δεύτερος άνθρωπος εκτός από εμένα και εσείς που το είδε αυτή τη στιγμή. I like the suspense.
Oh, look. I didn't get the inside. Look.
Yes.
But now you will see that it's the same size. I have to show this very clearly to all of you. Hold your drawing. Wait, let's put your drawing here. Look, if the camera can show this, please. You look at your drawing from here to here, okay? Now look at my drawing from here to here, and now hold this. I will.
See, I'm a brilliant assistant, Yuri.
No, it's unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Now look,
please,
just look. Exactly the same size.
I'm so good, Yuri. I'm so good.
Let's do shows together.
It's amazing, you know. I mean, how did I do this? I don't believe it, you know.
But you see. No, to be honest with you, this was. I'm quite amazed that I got it so strongly. Honestly, I didn't get the inside circle.
Yes, maybe my transmission wasn't that.
And you see, there's no explanation to this because how? Let's say I understand the telepathy, but what always excites me is how does my hand, yes,
all the time,
can draw it the same size? Because if you if you look at it from here to here, also,
yes,
it's the same. It's like same size.
So the amazing thing is that even if I were, let's say, on the assumption, the hypothesis that I work with you, even if I told you that I drew a square with a circle within, you would not be able to get it exactly on the dot.
And I love what you said now, because no one ever said this. This is, even if someone said, oh, you told me, or I had the camera hidden and I saw it, how does my hand draw it the same size? After all, I'm sitting with a marker, shaking.
There is an explanation, Yuri.
Well,
the explanation is that I did it because I'm so gifted. I mean, I drew my drawing exactly to I knew exactly what you were going to do, so I drew it.
You know, later on in the show, take a ruler.
Yes.
How do you say ruler in Greek?
Riga.
A riga. And you measure it.
It's amazing.
It will be millimetrical. So that's what Americans loved. And they say, wow, if URI can read